So, good day everyone. My name is Casey Anabenongat from BSc Matters 9 and I'm here to present to you topic of 1987 Philippine Constitution Article 3 Bill of Rights Section 3 and 4. So first, what is Bill of Rights? Bill of Rights is sometimes called a Declaration of Rights or a Charter of Rights. It is a list of most important rights to the citizen of a country. The purpose is to protect those rights against infringement from public officials and private citizens. Bill of Rights may be entrenched or unentrenched. It is also established the relationship of the individual to the state and defines its rights of the individual by limiting the lawful power of the state. It is also one of the most important political achievements of the Filipinos. So, Section 3. Section 3 states that the privacy of communication and correspondence shall be inviolable except upon a lawful order of the court or when public safety or order requires otherwise as prescribed by law. And second, any evidence obtained in violation of this or the preceding section shall be inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. So Section 3 states that every person has the right to keep his communication or correspondence a secret. His or her communication with others by phone or by letters is a personal or private matter that nobody should intrude upon. But this right can be lawfully suspended upon order of the court if the safety and security of the people is at stake. So this section covers letters, messages, or telephone calls and any other type of communication. So there is an act that prohibited this section. It is a Underwear Tapping Act, or also called as RA 4200. It is reinforcement of privacy of communication. It is a law which prohibits a person not authorized by all the parties to any private communication to wiretap or use any device to secret, overhear, intercept, record, or communicate the content of the said communication to any person. Wiretapping of record or the use of record may be permitted in civil or criminal proceedings involving specified offenses, principally affecting national security, and only with previous authorization by the court, which must comply with the requirement of a warrant. The authority is effective only for 6 days. So the next topic is Section 4. No law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble the petition of the government for redress or grievance. The scope of the protection extends the right to form associations or societies not contrary to law, right to access to information or matters of public concern, and freedom of religion. Four important rights embodied in this article. The first is freedom of speech, right to free press, freedom of assembly, and the right to petition. So when we say freedom of the press, it is the right to circulate opinions in print without censorship by the government. Government Americans enjoy freedom of the press under the First Amendment to the Constitution, which states, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech of the press. Freedom of assembly is the individual right to peacefully assemble, collectively express, and petition the government for redress of grievance guaranteed by the First Amendment in the U.S. Constitution. Freedom of assembly is often used interchangeably by the freedom of association. Right to petition is a right of guaranteed by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution to petition the government of the redress of grievance. So, freedom of expression is guaranteed by the institution because 1. Essential of the search of the truth. 2. Essential for democracy to work. And lastly, essential for the citizens to promote self-realization and self-determination. The limitation of this right is not absolute. It must be exercised within the bounds of law, morals, public policy, and public order, and with due regard for other rights. Thus, absence, libelous, and slanderous speech are not protected by the guarantee. So are sieges and fighting words that advocate imminent lawless conduct. So one of the limitations of freedom of expression is severe calumny, which means untruthful information or character assassination. And the difference between libel and slander is when we say libel, it is written, and slander, it is a verbal. So Section 4 also guarantees for the prohibition against prior restraint. So prior restraint, it is actual and official government restriction of the press and other forms of expression in advance, actual prohibition or dissemination. Prior restraint is the censorship of speech by the government before the speech is published, distributed, or otherwise heard or read. Right to free speech, also known as freedom of expression, is protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, which prohibits the government from making any law abridging the freedom of speech. So, prior restraint can take many forms. For example, the government or a government agency may refuse to grant a permit or license to a group that seeks to engage in the expression. If the city or government denies the political group a permit to hold the protest, the city might be imposing prior restraint on the group's speech by preventing the protest from taking place. If a state or federal law imposes a licensing or permitting requirement on the exercise of the speech, that law may be considered as illegal prior restraints. So now I'll show you some video clips about Section 3 and Section 4.
Hey Janine, have you heard about what happened recently in Batangas?
Yeah, what about it?
Just really think it's why I just what?
They might hear you too.
Hey, don't interrupt me. I have my freedom of expression.
I hate him. He's such a liar and a cheater. Well, that serves him right.
Leiko, I heard about your promotion. Congratulations.
Hey, did you hear about how she really got her promotion?
What? No.
She has an affair with our boss.
What? That's crazy.
vice president of the Puja. Do you want to sign the petition?
I don't really agree with you, but thanks though. Good luck with your petition. Bye.
I'll just sign her name anyway.
Hey Janine, what are you doing?
I'm writing an article about extrajudicial killings.
What? Extrajudicial killings? You can't write about that.
What?
You're gonna be fired. You're not gonna publish that.
Created using Powtoon.
So that is the video that I prepared for you to better understand the Section 3 and Section 4. And that's all. Thank you.